Welcome, everybody, back to the Stoke Your Creative Fire Summit, turning your angst into art with Toni.
Enjoy.
And today we have, oh my God, we have a most incredible art therapist, painter, incredible changer of the world, Aviva Gold. And we're going to fangirl her. Here we go. Get your fan. Joy, where's your fan? Here we go. We love you, Aviva. This is called fangirling. We're fangirling you. She's famous. She's amazing. She's fantastic. She's changed so many people's lives. Woo, Aviva. How's that feel, Aviva?
It's adorable. It feels
Oh,
good.
okay. So I'm going to talk about Aviva before she starts talking about herself. So I met Aviva many years ago. Aviva, and I'm going to be honest with you, was the person who invited me to teach at Kripalu. First person ever invited me to teach at Kripalu in 2001 with your creation, which was an incredible group of, you had a dancer, you had a theater person, you and David Darling, you remember? It was a long time ago, 2001. And
Right.
she brought me in and they met me at Kripalu and they were like, oh my God, and then my career at Kripalu continued from that point. But Aviva was that person for me who trusted me, saw me, loved me. And I've worked with her for so many years in so many ways. And I am literally in awe of what she does and the transformation that she helps other people create inside themselves through this amazing art, literally the art of painting from the source. I mean, she is the creator of painting from the source. Joy's going to read you her bio, but I'm going to show you here, like this is us at one of our workshops. This is us at another one of our workshops. We did paint and dance for many years, and I'll show you some of these paintings, but I'm going to let Joy read you some of her real bio. Aviva, hang in there. There's the book, Painting from the Source, the incredible book that has changed so many people's lives.
First published by HarperCollins. Right. All over the
Yes.
published.
All right, Joy, you're muted, hon.
Enjoy.
I have heard about Aviva for so long that this is such an honor. But I'm going to go into the bio because whoa. Aviva
Please.
Gold, MFA, MPS, CSW, ATR-BC, REAT, an art medicine woman. I don't even know what all that is, but that is like, whoa. This art medicine woman discovered the enchanted bliss and healing in nature and art as a lonely child. Thus became a lifetime of guidance from the muses found in art and nature. Graduated from Syracuse University with your BFA in art education and painting in 1962, taught art to children in Brooklyn and Spanish Harlem, received your master's in painting from Pratt. You were mom to 3 sons, really important there. Wife to a young doctor and a natural childbirth and lactation coach. You painted, exhibited, and taught drawing and art history at New Mexico State University. And this is what you call your first life.
Yeah, that was like her first life. I met her way after that.
I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm learning as we go. Now, this is your
Yes.
life post-divorce. You have your master's in art therapy and dance from Pratt Institute. Practice art therapy in various school and hospital settings in New York City. You completed psychoanalytical training, taught
Yes.
dream interpretation and other mental health topics in New York City colleges, and you developed a teenage pregnancy program. You became a public speaker for Brooklyn Counseling Clinic, received your 3rd master's in certification in clinical social work, and began your 40-year psychotherapy practice. And this third life began when you moved into the woods of New York's Hudson Valley.
Yes,
Excellent.
in Ghent. I remember the house. I painted there once with you.
You deepened your spiritual search. You started to incorporate yoga, meditation, holotropic breath work, dream work, among other modalities. And then you developed and began your facilitation of the painting from the source
Oh
work.
my God. I feel like I'm going to cry just hearing your bio, Aviva, because I know you so well and I honor you as much as all those words do. I've seen you do magic with people right in front of my eyes, like just. So, do you want to say a little bit more on that bio, or do you want to? Okay, a little bit more. We're going to keep going on Aviva's bio, and then we'll let her talk.
The work began. This is when you started to teach worldwide. Kripalu, Omega, Esalen, Findhorn Foundation, the Greek islands. You went to France, Italy, England, New Zealand, and the Caribbean. You studied with the shamans. You pilgrimaged to Bali. Went trekking. You went to yoga in Nepal, completing your Gestalt therapy training and your deeper studies of mythology, astrology, Native American traditions. And so you just did it all. My goodness. And then you did the book, Fourth Life, 1988. Here we go. Painting from the Soul, Awakening the Artist Soul in Everyone. And this was just the beginning.
I have it right over there. Hold it up again. Where's that book? I have so many books. I'd have to look for it, but I have it.
No, I've got
There
it.
it is.
This
Painting
is
from the
the
Source.
newest one, Toni. You haven't seen this, with 50 paintings.
Oh my God, because I always, when I came to your house in Ojai that time and I saw all your paintings, I literally flipped out. I'd never seen all your paintings.
Something, Toni, I might have one of your paintings in this book.
What? We'll have to see.
If not, it has to be in the next one, right?
All right.
And now you have a teacher training. You are doing DVDs, videos, you've got workshops, seminars, and you're doing this with business leaders and creative problem solving.
This is the second book in 2011.
Oh,
Oh,
source art in the
edition.
world.
Yeah, this is my manifesto, right?
And I just want to say Aviva is about healing the world, not just about healing the individual. And we just were talking, she's actually creating a film. So let's start with I want to ask you the first question of the summit that we ask every single person. And this is actually going to take you back, not
Thank you,
forward.
ladies, for, painting me in such an exquisite light. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, you emanate the goddess herself, and you do. I've seen you be Kali, and I've seen you be, Kuan Yin. You have all the gamut, of your god. I know you wild woman, but you're also like an incredibly vulnerable sweetheart as well. You have all of the facets. So our question we've asked every person on this interview is, how has creativity healed you first? Because we believe, Joy and I both believe, that everybody who comes to this path to be a creative healer is doing this because they need it just as much, and they heal through their own work, and which is what I really believe. And everyone we've talked about it. So please share with us, if you don't mind, as vulnerable as you wish to go, knowing that this is an interview. How is creativity for you?
Well, one of the reasons I created this workshop, Painting from the Source, is because I was always looking for a workshop like this to go to. A place where you could paint anything, there were no restrictions, where you could share honestly, that had a spiritual component to it, and addressed the phenomenon of channeling creativity from the source, which is whatever you want to imagine. Yes. And so it came out of a need for me to go to that workshop that I couldn't find. And I know that that's true for your work.
Of course.
But we, what do they say? We teach what we need to learn. And so many things, the early paintings in the 1980s, once I switched over in painting in that way from my academic training at Pratt, abstract expressionism and the whole, thing. Once I went to tempera paint and paper like a child, which I learned from another workshop I went to at Omega Institute from people out of California, called the Painting Experience. I want to give them credit for kind of being the final piece I needed, Then it just, all the healing that I desperately needed. For instance, in our world, and growing up as a Jewish child, I mean, this is a man's world that we were born into, and I was born in 1940, so it was especially like that. So I needed to have a God that looked like me. And so my early paintings were of my vision of a female God, of a female figure giving birth to the universe, a whole series of
I've seen those paintings of Eve. I know what you're talking about. Oh my, it's all like celestial, and she's in an outline, and she has got the earth there. I've seen your painting on the wall. Yeah. Oh my God, it's so amazing.
Easily take which would be fun if we had a lot of time. I could usually take the camera, and just go, and I have that painting hanging.
Maybe at the end we can do that. That would be so amazing.
Yeah.
Just to comment as you're going.
That empowered me. That was part of an early part of healing from me, empowering me as a female, as a girl child.
Right,
Um,
creating. I love what you just said, making a God that looked like me. And this is what's happening in the world right now. Everyone is needing to create a blank role model that looks like them because the world is in such a
right,
divisive
depending on
place
what
right
color
now.
or sexual orientation you are.
Exactly, exactly. And we're just so there. And I know you understand all this because you're so, open to healing and you've worked with so many thousands of people. Oh my God, thousands of people.
Different parts of the world too, and so that, you get the different cultures and right.
Yes.
You see the
So can I ask
similarities.
you, like, what do you feel like you heal within yourself when you come? Because I've seen you paint too, and I've seen you do expressive. Is it now a process for you? Like, do you feel like you did a big healing at some point in your life around your own personal issues through the painting? Because I know that I healed so much through the paintings. I mean, I painted with you at least maybe I think 7 times in full week-long workshops, and then I took one with you privately before I even came to one of your workshops. I had to come and take your workshop before we could teach together, and it was totally mind-blowing for me. What I painted was my deepest. I have that painting in this closet literally behind me, and it was my biggest, what I would call, inner demon that I'd ever seen. I painted it. It had the long tongue, and it was like so disgusting. I mean, I painted a beast, and it was hard for
I've
me. I
done
remember
those
at
too
what?
along the way. I paint while I'm teaching, so
Yes.
I put a lot. So I have some beasts,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I painted that goddess, the 18-foot goddess, So I know that I was painting like my inner power. I mean, luckily I painted many times with you, so I got to paint different things. And I remember this one is so funny. I opened this book and I remember, like, oh my God, do you remember this? This is not me. This is another person in our workshop.
Yes, of course.
This was a most incredible channel, a woman in the workshop with Aviva, and I painted this painting, and she ended up channeling this being, which is what you do with Aviva. You learn how to embody
We
the
didn't
painting.
talk about that part of the
Yeah,
work.
so let's talk about that. But I painted this one, which was like really interesting about me being a split being, which I have been working gender wise on for the last 6 years, Aviva. You don't know, but this is what I've been working on. And my green goddess comes with me in every painting that I've painted with you. She always is there in some shape or form. This was an amazing dancer who painted that incredible painting. I mean, these just go on and on. Oh my God. Oh, one of our JourneyDance teachers painted this one. I remember this. This is Lisa Buell. And I remember this from 5 years ago because, oh, there's another JourneyDance teacher
Okay,
here.
I'm going to show you one from
10 years ago. This was 10 years ago.
I
Please
did
show
a
me.
5-day workshop in Switzerland. Can the camera see this? I don't. Oh yeah,
Yes. Oh, yes. There it is. Oh my
just
goodness.
go
Look at
through the
that.
stages. This is
Yes.
the this is the very first small piece of paper.
Mm.
This is 8 foot tall, this painting.
Wow.
Yes. And to the left is my painting that I just showed you. My split person is right there.
Oh, I knew. I told
Yeah.
you.
That's wild.
You're in the book. You remember I told you that?
I got a painting in the book, everybody. Didn't even know. Wow, amazing.
Something
I'm
I
a published
emailed
painter.
you years ago to ask your permission, and you said yes, but there's so much that goes on we don't remember.
You're so adorable. Anyway, point being that
You're there.
these paintings are so powerful that these are just what you're seeing is the finished product, but what we go through, in the process is like, check these out, is just, it's so, the process of the painting is a totally different, it's a whole different world than you could imagine. I mean, people are putting themselves back together psychologically. Can you talk more about the process now, like what
Oh,
you?
the embodiment part, which,
Mhm.
and I do embodiments too. So that's bringing in sound and movement into the process. In other words, every painting has a movement and sound. You just need to stand in front of it and let it kind of take you over and start expressing the painting non-verbally with
Oh, they're so amazing.
witnessing, but witnessing silently, with no, like, there's no comments about anybody's painting or their embodiment experience, no analyzation of it, no, it's just really important for safety. And Toni and I both create a really safe container. It's essential for, for a person to feel safe enough to let anything happen. So
And paint anything from your, inner shadow pieces to
remember
your
at Cropalo,
goddess.
we found out that the night watchman came through one night, and we had to talk to the institution that we were working in about no one coming in at all.
I
Someone
remember. And then the last day when they did
1986.
come in, the last day when we did let them in, people were crying looking at the
Oh yeah,
paintings, and it was like
yeah.
they had no idea what went on. So, Aviva, talk to us about the process, because you showed that picture how it starts out small and then it's like, I mean, I've been there so many times just for myself, because when I taught the dance with you, I was painting for me. And I remember one time I painted this um,
Ah, good one.
this raven, and I
Mm.
walked away from the painting, and you said ask that what it is, ask what that is. And I was like, what? I said to the raven, what are you? And it said, I'm a headdress. And I was like, oh my God. And then I made it a head, and you were like, Toni, that is not the right size head for that raven is going to have a big, so I had to make this big head, and then I made the 18-foot woman.
Right,
But
right,
like you guide us like in a very specific way, like ask the painting, ask the painting. I
right.
remember you saying that hundreds of times, and you say give it arms, give it
But
legs, give it feet,
Tony, I'm usually not as directive as you said, oh my God, that, usually, well, I know you well, so I could say that Raven needs, that's just a small part of the painting. It needs a much bigger headdress. But usually I'll ask people to go to the painting and ask it, does
Mm.
it need to be bigger? That's,
No,
yeah.
you did, that's what you said, but I can't remember it that way. But yeah, you said, does it
I
need to be
want people
bigger?
to know that I I might have a thought and I have a feeling of what the painting might want, but it's really important that the painter get it, not be directed. I want people to know that they have a direct link, and they don't need an
Yes.
intermediary. And so I just am there to midwife
Yeah.
them to connect with that link, so that after they leave me and they might never paint with me again, they have something for the rest of their life, that they know, oh my gosh, there is really some spiritual power that comes through me. I really can channel. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
That's
So
it.
here's another example of, in this book, I did something I usually don't do. I took photos during the process. So it started out, so this painting also ended up being, this was painted by a lovely man in Switzerland.
Wow.
It's kind of like a symbol
Yes.
of a goat.
Mm.
Yes.
And this ended up being like 7 foot high. I mean, it's a real amazing piece. But again, it started out as one piece of paper,
Yes.
not knowing what it wanted to be. This was, after just, an hour of painting, this is what happened. This one. And then it grew, some paper was added to the top.
Yes.
Then it stayed the same size for a while. Then this one, and then this symbol just came on.
Wow.
And then it turned gold, the symbol turned gold.
Yes.
And then it got a little bit more details, and then it grew, into that. So it's a very organic process, the way nature is, the way biology is,
It's so deep.
just growing. And yeah.
Mm.
And then people have an opportunity at the end to stand in front of it, witnessed by the group, and do another embodiment, just letting the movement of the painting and the sounds that the painting wants to make. And it's such a gift to the painting, because the painting has its own soul by this time, to allow it to be expressed in the world, because you're going into the collective unconscious and the powers of the universe, and you are behaving as a channel, which is such a healing experience itself.
You know what you're talking about is so deep, because like I've been
It's
to,
very,
many museums and seen lots of art, lots of paintings, but there's something about these paintings that are so raw and emotional and present life, present moment, that they are a different kind of painting. It's painting for healing. Ah. Is that yours?
no.
Oh, wow.
And different styles and different souls and
Oh,
different.
yeah.
That's the thing. No one's copying the teacher here.
Yeah.
Right. Here's someone that never painted before. So she didn't have any training in anatomy or anything like that. Just putting out her
Yeah.
sweet,
Amazing.
right.
You know what one of my favorite parts of the process is? The day when you reveal the actual paint. Like it's like when all the canvases are just completely there's all we have is a piece of paper on the wall that's, this big, and then all the paint is there, all the color, and it's like a child instantly this like that's what it feels like when you first see all the paints. It's
Right.
like, oh my god, like it's like this potential. It's so different from being like in art school kind of paint because it's that. Can you talk about that, like the whole texture of the
Yeah.
paint and everything?
Come into the room and it can be a little intimidating, all these white papers up on the wall, these empty papers. And then the table, here, I have the table there. There it's bottles. I don't know if you can see it in the distance.
Yes, I see them all.
Wow. Look at that. Okay.
So, but I think we had bottles of all, or we might have put it in cups. It's tempera paint. It's a kindergarten paint. And it's water-based paint. Some people call it tempers, some people call it poster paints, and with lots of juicy colors and different size brushes and containers for water, and then a picnic plate as a palette, a white
Yep.
picnic plate with the reservoirs in it for the meat and the potatoes and the peas and the whatever, all the 3 different things. And then you just pour the color in.
Oh,
Yeah, and you don't have to know, you can use your hand, you can use your non-dominant hand to paint. You don't have to know anything, you just play.
yeah.
But a
It's
very important
amazing.
part of it is we have an altar and we light a candle. Like before our talk, I lit a candle whenever, because I
Beautiful.
consider our, talk sacred.
It
And
is.
I burned some Palo Alto, the sacred wood that keeps the good spirit, brings in good spirits. And then I ring my bell that I got in Nepal, just to, and I start every workshop that way to make it
Oh, yes.
right.
Just for our audience, who is a lot of Journey Dance people, this is Joni Joan White Hansen. She was painting next to me. You all know she
Yeah.
loves color. Look at that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I remember I was right next to her. And I was like, oh my God, that beautiful cat is coming out of the painting. So many deep experiences we can
Mm.
have.
I
So
love
Aviva, if you were gonna, oh, you go, Joy.
Yeah, I want to just stay with what you're talking about. Is this playfulness, and I love this quote that is by you, of course. Every human being is an artist. As adults, we can recreate the boundless joy of unself-conscious art,
Mm.
setting aside intellectual critique and self-doubt, and reconnect with the source, the spiritual center others may call instinct or soul. And what I'm curious about is, as we have sat and talked with so many people that have used different tools of creativity to recreate or re-see, remember, whatever we want to, however they activate and they get to that part of their soul, their spirit.
Mm.
You have a history of being with a lot of different people, a lot of different places.
Yeah.
And as you've seen every human as an artist, what I'm most curious, because as Toni and I are really into creativity as a healing modality in its totality, and bringing people back to that, not making it for the singers, the poets,
Yes.
every stage, it's all of us.
Mhm.
What have you learned about people and the healing process?
Mm. I
That
love it,
everybody
Joy.
is an artist. It might be their primary way of expression is visual or musical or
Mm.
theater um, or getting people to laugh, raising people's consciousness through that way. But that's the basic, the humanity, the ways in which,
Mm.
Mm.
that we're alike. And the ways in which our civilization for thousands of years have put the people in a box and
Mm.
and suppressed us.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, and if that weren't the case, Toni and I wouldn't need to be doing what we do, which we're doing for our own healing as well. We would just join in
Right.
with everybody, painting and dancing. And, I spent some time in Bali, and I saw how everybody is an artist.
Mm.
Their word for artist is
Yeah.
the same in the Balinese language, is the same word for human being. It's just by nature of being human.
Wow.
You're a painter, so
Oh, that's so beautiful.
right.
I mean, I've been in so many of your workshops, and I honor you on such a deep level. And I've worked with Catherine and other people who have painted with you, and have seen their paintings and heard their stories. And what the other thing that really strikes me is every person you must have heard, you must have seen, like you see the stories, right? Instead of hear the stories, like it's like a different kind of therapeutic release, and it's just it is awesome. Like every person we find awe, like, and when we go around and see all these paintings, and if you were going to encourage people, to have a practice of creativity for themselves, like what would you say, Aviva? Because now we know everyone's an artist. So how do they begin? How do they?
Remind me, there's something I want to say about how you were describing the process, about the being just starting. Yeah. It's purposely nonverbal. You can be in talking therapy your whole life and not get to certain issues that are so early and deep and so spiritual and karmic that you even came in with, that you might not remember, that going into this nonverbal place allows you to hit your unconscious, your collective unconscious, your
Yes.
family lineage, when you were a bird flying in the tree, before there were even mammals on the planet, and just by tapping into that and expressing it non-verbally, giving this aspect, all these things that are alive in you, enabling them to, as you said, Toni, this, you can see it. And then when you embody it, you can hear it and express it.
That's
Put
it.
it into the world, so that it's not only healing you, the painter, you, the mover, you, the sounder, and the witnesses in the room, whether it be a small group of 8, or I've had 40 people at Crepallo and in Switzerland. But it's also emanating vibrationally out around the planet. So this is deep. Toni says, this is deep.
It's
This
deep.
is beyond what you can imagine.
So speaking of that, will you please share how your creativity has unfolded into your next big project that I really want you to share with everybody?
So, but I don't want to skip over telling people how they can do this at home.
Yes, please.
Of course, you can come to a workshop. I'm still leading workshops, and I can see 7 people for a weekend here in Oracle, and it's beautiful here in Oracle. It's wild. It's like going to a third world country or some other land without having to need a passport.
Oh, wow.
I found a really wild place to live in Arizona.
Great.
But reading the book, and maybe getting 1 or 2 other people to read the book with you, and getting together once a month or once a week and putting the paper up. The book tells you exactly what kind of paper to buy, what kind of brush to buy. I mean, it even tells you how to add the papers. There's a diagram in here showing how, I mean, it really holds your hand through everything, and tells you, reminds you to have an altar, ask before you paint, to show reverence to all the muses and your angels and your guides. And there are a lot of little videos on my website that also show.
Great. Well, we're going to give a free gift where people can go and find that beginning process. And I cannot recommend enough, if you want to, those of you who are watching, if you want to explore painting as a new process for you if you've never done it, or if you feel terrified by it, it might be time to try it. You know, these kinds of, or if it's totally your thing and you've never painted from the source, I recommend working with Aviva absolutely, hands down, as soon as you possibly can. And now will you tell us about your other project? Yay.
Yes, yes. So let's see, how did this evolve? All right. I even knew as a child, which I already shared with everybody, when I was sitting in the Orthodox synagogue as a child in Corona. Believe it or not, there was a synagogue in Corona, Queens.
Yes.
Italian neighborhood.
In New York, yeah.
Right, in
Queens. Yeah. Corona, Queens. I've been there.
Grandma. The rest of the family would sneak out for Chinese food, but we didn't tell grandma. So I didn't understand why we had, to the women, I had to sit in back with my grandmother and my mother and all the women, and we weren't allowed to touch the Torah, you know, and the thought of, you know, a woman ever being, you know, and men weren't allowed to touch us, at least not after we started menstruating. So I knew there was something really, you know, messed up in this. And I always, you know, this whole process of painting females that are, you know, godlike figures, and then realizing I'm painting the cosmic mother, you know, all of this.
Yes.
So,
Joy, you two get along really well.
I know, I'm just taking it all.
Joy is just like, Joy has never met you, Aviva, so she's just like, oh my God, this is my jam.
And afterwards, if you have any, you know, advice or questions of where I can go with this, you know, connection with any groups that really are aware of how we have to turn the patriarchy around and not just wait another 1,000 years for it to happen.
Absolutely. It's happening.
I have a catalyst in this story. So I realized after my book was published in 1998, I was sitting watching a movie about the life of Nostradamus. And you might know, he was the guy that saw the future.
Yes.
And it showed him just agonizing, oh my God, what human beings are doing to each other.
Oh.
And then later in the movie, he sees World War I, and he sees, oh my God, the gassing. And then he sees World War II. And then he even sees something that looks like it could have been Twin Towers. And at the end of the movie, he's just like, oh my God, what do human beings have to do? And I'm sitting there in the dark in my house in the Berkshires.
Okay.
And I'm saying, I'll help, you know, I'm alone. And then I realized, you know what I realized, Toni? Something we know intellectually. At this time in the world, now that we have cinema for the past 100 years or more, that is the best media to reach most people. And I realized that if I wanted to do a hero's journey about a man who starts out really with some, you know, wanting to be in control, very, you know, like one of the most powerful men in the world, that if he's going to have a change of heart by going into nature and some kind of vision quest, it wasn't going to be a king it had to be a man, but it wasn't going to be a king or a president. It had to be one of the most wealthy businessmen in the world, because I realized that they're the ones that have the power over the politicians. And and so that the story is a hero's journey about a contemporary story about a man who is one of the wealthiest men in the world. He meets every year with that elite group of the other wealthy people who have the power and the energy, and no conspiracy here. I mean, we know about, you know, this group that meets in Switzerland, and
we know,
right. And, you know,
I've read all those books, baby. You know, I've read all those books.
Right.
I'm in there.
But this guy, there are these indigenous grandmothers. It started out as Native American grandmothers about 600 years ago, before the first white men came to this, you know, land. And they saw into the future, and they knew that they knew it was going to be bad for a few hundred years.
Mm.
These pale-faced chiefs.
Mm.
And they knew, and these chiefs had a very strange thing that they, in their psychic ability, they could see that shocked them, that these white chiefs wanted to control nature and women.
Ooh.
Which they didn't know, they were, oh my God, because that's so alien to what they do. But they knew
Right. It's the
that
complete
the only
opposite of
way
nature.
the world was going to be healed is from an ancestor of one of these, dominant male leaders. So they're working. So here in 2024, 2025, whenever the movie comes out, they are, and they've been singing a healing song every day, waiting for him. And here he is. He lives in New Canaan, Connecticut. His main corporate office is in Manhattan, and they're starting to work on him, and he's starting to have nightmares about.
I read the lookbook. I read the proposal. Oh my God, it's gonna be so great.
Yeah. And so then the rest, the movie is just incredible. And then what happens when he goes through it's kind of like, the Charles Dickens story of how Scrooge has these dreams. And then, and then the next day, he's like a different person, so generous. Well, that's what this guy goes through in a pit in the earth, somewhere in the Southwest, where, the ancient grandmother comes to him and he actually sings the song.
Wow, this is going to be amazing. And Aviva, so
you
wrote a book, correct?
Allegory. This is the, this is, at first I couldn't write the contemporary story because I'm not a writer, Toni. This is the thing. It's like, I never took a course in creative writing. Yeah, I wrote my book, but that was nonfiction.
Yeah.
And it was about, this process. I never knew anything about character development. I never wrote a line of dialogue. And I had trouble. I couldn't do it in the contemporary story first. But when I sat down and I said, once upon a time, there lived a king.
There you go.
And there was a Merlin, and because I work so much with dreams and with the young work, I the whole
archetypes, and you work with a lot of things. You work with
the whole thing flew. And then, of course, these dragons showed up that have magic eggs. I don't know if you can see this illustration. One of my workshop participants is an illustrator, and I paid him to do. And then, of course, there's the archetype of the fool, which is the court jester. And then we have Merlin, the queen, the princess, the old crone, all the archetypes and the what Jung talks about and Joseph Campbell. It is so powerful. And then once I wrote this, a screenwriter found me and liked what I'm doing. And he said, I don't have time for the next few months, but you write the treatment. And as some of you might know, the treatment is the contemporary story.
Wow.
And I said, I can't write a treatment, but you know what?
You did it.
I sat down, I prayed, I lit a candle, and it just flowed through me. And now he's taking my treatment and he's putting it into a script. But I have to pay him, and I'm not doing other things, especially with COVID and everything. So we have a
fundraiser, yes.
We're asking for donations, so hopefully there'll be a link to that on.
Yes, we will put a link to the movie.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to put this out there. Right,
Aviva, you've done
so. Show you guys a painting I did in Kripalu, not in a workshop that you were co-teaching with me, Toni, but a 5-day workshop.
Please.
Show you guys. I don't know. Tell me how to move the camera so you can see it.
You're doing good. You're doing.
We see something beautiful on the ground in this black background and a body.
Yeah. So the black, but the black background, if you can see, it's the cosmic mother back there in the stars.
Yes, she's there. I see her. Yeah, I see her in the behind. Yes.
Right. And
I've seen that painting.
As the man in her, a man who is learning from her. He's in her guidance. he's being guided by her, which I didn't realize that I did a painting of the movie.
Yes,
And
right there.
it's connecting with, it's opening up his heart and connecting with the cosmos.
We can see
And
that. That is amazing. Now I see it now, the
yeah,
heart and going out in different
Wow.
directions. Aviva, I just want to say you've done
okay.
so much for so many people in this world. Just tilt yourself up a little bit. You've done so much for so many people in this world, just sharing your art with them and your process, that I really want everyone who's watching this video, if you could do a donation, it'd be amazing, so she could make this film, because, we all came here. She is a channel. I've worked with her before. We know each other deep level, and the compassion, I feel like I'm going to cry because I'm so happy that you're doing this and that you're still doing this work in the world, and it makes me so happy, and to have known you and worked with you for so many years. So thank you for being on this with us and sharing, like, because I know your heart is so big, and to be
Mm.
able to write something that, because you want to change the world, is really, it's a big task. And we're not all in the industry, so I'm going to connect you with some people that I know around here who are in the industry. I'm going to do that because I want you to meet
People
somebody.
who
But
aren't afraid of either a man who really feels the power of the feminine and the need for her to come back,
yes,
and maybe overbalanced a little bit, the pendulum swing in that direction before
we're
we,
ready for that, baby.
or women, because I'm wondering who now in the movie industry, what new movie companies are being run by women, and maybe women of color, who
Yes.
would really support the guy I'm working with. I mean, I'm working with a guy, the film writer, and he is growing in the process. And I think he would admit to it also.
You're so
Yeah.
great.
And we give each other, we're both stretching, working with this guy. He never, worked with anyone like me either. But anyway.
Well, you
But I
are
appreciate,
a unique being,
yeah, for better,
and
right, right.
so amazing. I mean, for never, for just, for worse, for better. And
No, for better, right.
I
Oh,
was like, would you do
Toni,
this like summit thing?
you're freezing just a little bit.
Yeah, can you just repeat that part, Tony? Because you're going into a freeze mode.
Yeah. Hold on. It says my internet connection is. Yep.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I good now? Okay.
Good.
Make a note of what time it is, Joy. 5:47.
Yeah.
So
And-
I was just saying. Oh, now I can't remember. Now I'm frozen again.
Oh, you were
Joy,
saying
take it away for a minute. We'll just cut this part.
that I have a big heart, and you're glad to be helping me, and we have to help
Oh
each
yeah, I
other.
was gonna say I'm so glad, because I know what it's like to be like Aviva, having like a thing that I created or that I brought forth for healing for people, and how to like bring it out into the world, so complex in this crazy world that is set up in such a specific way around what success looks like and how we bring healing work to the world.
In a
So I just
man's
want to,
world, trying to,
yes.
with women.
Yeah,
Right.
I said I'm ready for that teetering over where the women are just, the pendulum swings. Yay! Can't wait.
We need that before there can be balance. Of course,
Yes.
if that's the way it used to be, 15,000 years ago, and it still is in certain indigenous cultures where,
Yes.
the female is revered and the male, and they revere each other. But
Yes.
yeah, this movie purposely goes a little bit in the direction of the indigenous grandmothers are controlling things here to get this guy
Well,
going.
let's actually make that happen.
Oh, thank you. I need that as much as we need money. You know what
All
I'm
right. Well, Aviva, I'm always on your side. I always have your back no matter what.
right?
We've done
Right.
some crazy things together.
But I need that from all the incredible people that are watching,
Yes. So everybody, please send a prayer up and send energy in the form of money, which is basically one of the forms of energy, and
Right.
help build this project. I'm totally in support of that. And I also take her programs and workshops, because Aviva Gold is an extremely incredible facilitator of healing. I've watched her take people through such, like, Joy and I do it similarly in our own way in our work, but taking them through a traumatic memory experience, some catharsis that happens, and just bringing them home. It's been an amazing
My
honor
gosh,
and journey.
Toni, do you remember the workshop? The whole theme was grieving, and there was a lot
Yes.
going on in the world. And we were doing, what's it called? That Middle Eastern that do you remember we were like
Oh,
gold
we were all like, yeah, we were keening. We were
keening?
keening. That's
Mm.
That
Jewish too. Yeah, we
keening.
were we were
Well,
keening.
we
We were
were
like all screaming our grief into the space, but in a singing kind of way. Yeah, it was
right.
totally
And
intense.
it
I
was
remember.
for our own lives, for each other, and putting it out on the planet for all the grief that's there. That was
Yeah.
we
I
yeah.
know, I know. Every workshop I remember. I remember one where I painted this like really, really intense male figure, and you were like, "Does he need clothes?" And we were like, "All right, do you need clothes?" It was so funny that I gave him a loincloth and he felt better. Like it was such a, and I became friends with him. Oh, it was such an intense paint. I've painted some really wild stuff with you. I wish I had all my paintings and. But I'm sure there's somewhere. I know I wanted to show everybody. I have more books. I just couldn't find all the other books. Somebody made a soft cover book where we had. Oh, I think I see it. I'm gonna go look. Talk
I
to her for
put
1 second.
loincloth on this guy. Uh,
Oh
but
my.
I have a version of him, the original painting has none, just because we geared the book. Oh, by the way, this book that the movie is based on is called The King Who Sang the Song of the Grandmother.
Oh my
Right,
goodness.
right.
Well, we're
And
gonna have to.
I did this painting years ago of that, of the, without even having thought of the movie yet, of this
Wow.
guy in nature.
Mm.
Um, and look, he has like a crown. And
Yes.
and his heart,
He looks
and
so like he's from every culture all mixed together. He's kind of
yeah,
amazing.
he
He's an
has black
amalgam.
skin, but he has blue eyes, and right.
Mm.
And so yeah, I was telling the group the original book is called The King Who Sang the Song of the Grandmother.
And we
So,
can get that book. We can purchase that.
oh yeah, this is on, yeah, of
Okay,
course.
great. Is that on Amazon?
It's on Amazon and it's also on my website.
Okay,
Right.
great.
On
Right.
Amazon, I have it for sale for next to nothing. It's the lowest price they would allow. And the what do you call that version where you
Oh,
look
the
at,
Kindle.
yeah, the Kindle is 99 cents
Oh my
because
God. Okay.
this is not to be made money from this.
Right. It's to
This
change the
is for
world.
people to see. And when the movie comes out, I want people that don't have enough money for like $10 for the thing or to join Netflix. I want there has to be a way, and that's
For
to be
everyone to
my
see it for
contract
free.
for everyone to see it.
Got it.
Right.
We are so with you. This is
Woo! And
so.
she
This has been
continue
so
to
wonderful. I've got total
flow.
chills. Let's
Mm.
take a breath, just with appreciation.
Right. Mm.
Aviva Gold, the founder, creator, expressive artist, painting from the source, the goddess, healing, bringing so many people to their literal knees, to tears, to laughter, to freedom. Really, thank you so much for being on this on
Writer
this
and writer. Oh my
and writer and filmmaker now.
yeah. The
Wow.
evolution of Aviva Gold.
Thank
I
you.
love you so much, Aviva.
Thank you.
It was so fun to just be with you, and oh my God,
Yeah.
Joy, I'm so glad you got to meet
I
Aviva.
know. I'm feeling such an honor to be here.
Joan knows Aviva and loves Aviva, so we're going to be in touch in other ways. But for now, we're going to close our interview. So I hope you all enjoyed meeting this beautiful, amazing goddess healer, intellect, genius, artist, and thank you for tuning in to the Stoke Your Creative Fire.
Dancer.
Woo.
I love dancing too.
Yes, and a dancer. Oh, I've seen you dance.
I
She can
want to
dance
have
too.
Flash Bob dance in the film at the end.
Yes, I want to be
I
part
don't
of
know-
it.
I don't know if I have to discuss it with the film writer, but usually he goes along with my ideas.
Doesn't everyone, Aviva? I know you. We go along with Aviva's ideas because by the end of the day, you figure out, oh, she was right.
Oh my God.
I love you. I'm totally teasing you now. All right, I'm going to stop the
No,
recording.
I'm going to show him our interview. I'm going to show
Okay, great.
Don Thompson. I'm going to show him our interview.
Please do. All right.
Okay,
Thanks, everybody. Let's do a moi.
nice to meet you, Joe.
Wow.
Oh my God.
What an honor.
My biggest takeaway is just that this woman has never stopped. Like she has just never stopped her passion for the craft, the healing, what's needed, and for to help other people heal and herself and her process.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was so great to hear someone that's still having the fire to go after it, whatever the after it is. And her tools
Yes.
transforming. Now she's writing. Started with the painting and then found her own way into the painting and then finding that there's more and more and more and more and more. And she's never bored.
I
Imagine
know.
creativity as your path.
I mean, seriously, she's just like, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I love you, Joy. This has been so fun.
Yeah, this is great. I love it.
All right. Well, everybody, that was amazing meeting Aviva Gold. So now you got comedians, you got dancers, you've got what is it?
Artists and
Musicians,
writers and
artists, writers. Oh my God, there's more to
more.
come on
More.
the
Okay.
Stoke Your Creative Fire Summit. We'll see you soon.
All right. Take care. Bye.